and welcome to this video. And now, as you can probably tell by my t-shirt, I'm going to be looking at an XTC album. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about their fourth record, Black Sea, today. So I'll just be doing the usual thing in this video, giving a bit of background information about the album, then showing you my vinyl copy of it here, and then looking at each of the album songs in detail. So yeah, as I said, this was their fourth album, released on the 12th of September in 1980. Effectively, it was a continuation of the formula which made their previous album, Drums and Wires, like such a breakthrough. It was recorded at the same studios with the exact same band lineup, with the exact same producer. It was also kind of in some ways rush recorded over the summer. This was during XTC's height of their touring. So a key principle in the recording of the album was to not clutter the arrangements, to ensure that the songs could be reproduced live. If a keyboard was say to be used, that would be at the expense of a guitar part. This kept the recording quite uncluttered, but still very muscular and tough, thanks to Steve Lillywhite's production. And Lillywhite was probably at this stage one of the most in-demand producers of the time, working with the likes of Peter Gabriel and U2. And all this paid off for XTC. This was quite a successful record for them. In the UK, reached number 16 on the national charts and spawning 3 top 40 singles. In America, it would be the highest charting album, reached number 41 on the Billboard charts, plus it also reached number 1 in New Zealand. So I wish I'd show you my vinyl copy of it here. This is a really nice American copy, which my good friend vinyl collector James sent over for me. It's quite rare to find these albums nowadays, still with their original green outer bag. It was only really early copies what came with this. This is probably the cover which most people will be familiar with, the actual band shot here. Now, interestingly, the album was originally to be called Working Under Pressure, so hence this cover shot was done with the boiler suits and everything, whether the record company objected to that title, it was renamed Black Sea, but definitely the cover art does fit that title as well. So yeah, there's that, and then we've got the inner sleeve here just with all the lyrics on it, which is really nice. And then this is on, I said, an American copy, so it's on this RSO version label here. So yeah, that's the vinyl record looked at. Now, you can also buy a deluxe reissue CD of it as well. They've remastered it. I believe it's a 5.1 surround sound mix of it as well. Fortunately, I haven't got that yet. I'll definitely consider getting that though, because this is a brilliant record. But definitely, if that's the sort of audio formats, what you're into, I would recommend picking that up. Anyway, I will try and look at each of the album songs in detail. I'll score each track out of 10, and then those scores will be used to give us a overall percentage marking for the album. So the record kicks off with Respectable Street, which is a brilliant song to start the album. For me, probably one of my favourite XTC songs, I would have to say. Lyrically, it's very Kinks inspired, Ray Davies sort of 60s work, where he took a very observational view of English suburban life. So lyrically sort of touches on people trying to maintain a sort of social status, and looking down on their neighbours. The chorus goes what do you think you bought that car for? Because he realised it was Respectable Street. It's all about trying to maintain a social status. This was issued as the fourth single from the album, and it was actually banned by the BBC. The band thought that it was because of its references to abortions and sex positions, and so they re-recorded the vocal omitting changing those words around, whether the real reason why it was banned was because it mentioned Sony Entertainment Centres. Of course, the BBC that wasn't going to do product placement and that, so even the single mix of this song got absolutely zero airplay. Definitely for me is one of their most influential songs. I would say went on to inspire a lot of Britpop bands. I think Blur must have ripped off this song at least 100 times. So yeah, it is a good track here. It is a great track here to kick off the album. Yeah, Respectable Street, an easy 10 out of 10 for me. Then we go into the next track, Generals and Majors, which I have actually got the 7-inch single to show, so I'll just hold this one up now. This is another great song here. This is a Colin Moulding, a little pop nugget here from from like Colin Moulding, like the secondary songwriter like of XTC. And this song is kind of sort of touches on like the growing Cold War conflict, like kind of like starting wars like for the sake of power and vanity, but it's sort of wrapped up like in like a really sort of fun, sort of hummable song, just such a catchy song. Like I love like the guitar riff on it, and the really infectious structure like of the track as well, like how it's quite sort of like upbeat like for like the verses and like then like the chorus like goes like a little bit slower like as well. Again, just production just really brings out the song alive. This was a sort of semi-successful single like for XTC, charted at number 32 in the UK, and became their first charting American hit, reaching number 104 like on the Billboard's 200 chart. So yeah, that's something like at least for them. And then this is the single here. So this has got an exclusive B-side song called "Don't Lose Your Temper," which is a Partridge track, which is an okay song. Probably like if it had been like on the record, probably would have been one of the weaker tracks like on Black Sea. But yeah, still a good track there though. So that's yes, Generals and Majors. For me, another really great song, an easy 10 out of 10. Okay, and now it's Andy Partridge's go at sort of addressing like the Cold War, and like I must say this track, Living Through Another Cuba, couldn't be more different like from Generals and Majors, because this is a kind of sort of jerky ska like influenced song with Andy more sort of shouting and like sort of like outbursting like the lyrics, and like so like the first lines, it's 1961 again and we are piggy in the middle. I've heard the song compared to the likes of Talking Heads, but I think it's got a sort of like a kind of the Specials like sort of feeling to it. Like it's got this sort of bouncy, jaunty sort of ska feeling to it. Again, it's a nice riff, but for me the song does get a little bit annoying like as it goes on, like a little bit tiresome, like if like I'm not like in like the mood to hear it. So yeah, like I would only give that one like a 7 out of 10. Like unfortunately, probably like not a popular like opinion there, because it is one of the more the more well-loved songs on the album. And then the next track up is the second and actually final Colin Moulding song on the album. It's Love at First Sight, and I must say this is probably one of his more forgettable tracks, like what he contributed like to XTC. Like when like, you think like of like the great Colin Moulding songs like Making Plans for Nigel, Life Begins at the Hot Ball and Chain, of course Generals and Majors like we've just seen. This song for me like isn't quite up there like with those ones here. It's quite ordinary like lyrically like for XTC, basically about well just like falling in love at first sight really. I mean, it's still a pretty good song. It's got a really sort of funky rhythm to it and like interesting vocalization. Actually, I think like the first time I heard it reminded me a lot of David Bowie's song Sound and Vision. Now this was released like as a single like in some territories. Like I mean, like it's like a fairly like obvious choice for a single. Like it's sort of like it's quite a sort of like commercial sounding song. Like where like I don't think that it failed to chart like anywhere really, which is a shame. But yeah, like Love at First Sight would get like an 8 out of 10. Another like pretty solid song. But then the next track up is a really great one. It's called Rocket from a Bottle, which is a fantastic song, and kind of for XTC it's actually a kind of love song really, which it wouldn't never normally do, but it's kind of got a really nice lyrical concept about the feeling like of being in love and like the excitement and joy that brings like in like the early stages like of like a relationship. Like it's a sort of like metaphor like where like Partridge plays on like really well like throughout the song. Like I'm like a rocket from a bottle shot free, I've just been exposed since you kissed me. Like and like the music sort of like lends itself so much to that. It's just such a sort of gleeful like happy mood to it, like with like sort of pounding piano like forming the basis like of the song. I really love like the subtle key change like under like the guitar solo like as well. It just shows how much of a great arranger like Dave Gregory was. Like he just contributed like the perfect solo like to like this song. It just makes a song really. So yeah, absolutely faultless song there. Like never really tire like of hearing Rocket from a Bottle. Would get a 10 out of 10. There is no language in our lungs. And then the next track up is No Language in Our Lungs, which I must say with this one, it transitions really well from Rocket from a Bottle. Like I love how this record they have tried to make it so like a sort of proper cohesive listening experience. It just sort of like fades in really well. Like you've got a sort of like, it's more sort of slow burning and like progressive rock, like sort of like influence song, but it's absolutely immaculately recorded. I love the lyrics on it, basically about the difficulties like of communicating. I love that. I love the line again, like the middle, like of the song as well. Like it's just so like Andy Partridge, like where he sings, like I would have made this instrumental, but the words got in the way. Yeah, just a really, really great song. Definitely a contender for my favorite, like on the album. Yeah, just so much sort of tension, like in it, like as well. Like and like a great performance, like all round, like from like every member, like off the band, like on it. Another 10 out of 10.
Towers of London, when they had built you, Victoria.
And then the next track up is called Towers of London, which opens up side 2, and this is probably the most Beatles-inspired song, like I would say, like definitely like on like this album, because it's certainly got a very sort of classic 60s feeling to it, like like sort of like a lot of like sort of jangly like guitars like on it. Like it's just a really, really great sounding song. This lyrically, it's about the building and development like of Victorian London. Of course, like not a subject like ever really covered like in like pop music, but Andy Partridge does it really, really, really well. Again, you've got a great arrangement on it, like really like interesting, like sort of like use like of like a fire extinguisher, like in like the percussion track. It's just sort of like adds like to like the sort of like the industrial mood like of like the song. I must also add as well, there's a really great documentary on YouTube called XTC at the Manor, which shows them recording this song. In actual fact, that whole special like was completely faked, like basically like to like promote like Virgin Records like recording equipment like at like the Manor Studios. Like they'd actually recorded the song like at like the Townhouse and like studios like in London. However, it is still a really interesting watch to see all the elements like of the song, like sort of like how like they all like put together, like and like there's interviews like with like the band members like as well. So yeah, like I would definitely like recommend watching that. As I said, this was also the second single from the album, and it done okay, reached number 31 on the UK chart. So yeah, that's Towers of London, another really great song, another 10 out of 10.
I take home my notes and coins every week.
And then the next track up is called Paper and Iron, Notes and Coins, which is another really interesting track. You're very interesting structure to this one. Like it really doesn't stay in one place for too long. Starts off with this quite sort of heavy like drum rhythm to it, like the sort of like angry, like sort of like working for paper and for iron, work for the right to keep my tie on, like sort of like this sort of like slightly angry sort of like lyric to it. But then it sort of goes into this sort of very danceable groove like for like the chorus on it. It's just a really sort of down to earth lyric, basically about like earning money from like a like mundane job. The reason why though for me it's not a 10 out of 10 is because the structure, like it can take a little bit like getting used to like this song here. Like it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't stay like in one place for too long, like so like it's maybe like a little bit jarring like on like first listen. But you know, like when like you do sort of like get like into it, it is a good song like overall. So yeah, like that one I think deserves a 9 out of 10 there, Paper and Iron.
She says she's burning with optimism's flame.
And next up is called Burning with Optimism's Flames, which is another real favourite of mine on the album. Again, I love the verses on it, where like Andy Partridge, he sort of like does this very sort of quirky like vocalisation on it, just really sort of like fastly sung, like he's trying to cram in like a lot of like lyrics. But I do think it really works like on the song. It kind of just like adds like it just adds like a real sort of like personality like to like the track. And then the chorus itself is just so, again, it's euphoric and like really happy. Like again, like the lyrics are like match out and like she's burning with optimism's flames. It's just a really good song about being optimistic and happy. I think the song itself like is arranged really, really well. Lots of like little twists like in like the production of it, which really sort of like makes like the track stand up like for like repeated listens. And like that's something like more general like about like XTC like as well. Like all their songs generally like have got like sort of like really like interesting like sort of like arrangements to them, and like things that you don't sort of pick up on like first time you listen like to the songs. So even though like I've probably heard the song about 50 times, like I would say, like there's always something new what sort of like jumps out at you. So yeah, like it's a really, really great track there. Yeah, Burning with Optimism's Flames, an easy 10 out of 10 for me.
Sgt Rock is going to help me make the girl.
And then the next track up is probably the most popular song like on like the record. Like I'd say like the most well-known track. It's Sgt Rock is Gonna Help Me, which yes, a popular track like from the record, but for me not one of the stronger tracks like on the album. It's got a sort of 70s glam rock like feeling to it, like slightly sort of dumb lyrics on it though, like certainly like by like XTC standards, about basically like trying like to win over like a girl and like asking the help like of like the experience like Sgt Rock. The track today though has maybe dated lyrically slightly like with lines such as like make the girl mine, keep her stood in line. Like of course like it was all kind of like part like of like the metaphor like of like the lyrics, but certainly like Andy Partridge like has now sort of like denounced the songs, like he absolutely like can't stand this track like anymore. But yeah, like it is definitely like the most well-known song like on the record, like probably like among like non-XTC fans. Climbed to number 16 like on the UK chart. So yeah, Sgt Rock would get a 8 out of 10 for me. Like overall, like if like I'm in like mood for it, like I do have a good time with that song. However, it isn't a song which I ever really reached to from the album. And then we finished the record with Travels in Nihilon, which is probably XTC's most dark and most sort of post-punk like track. Teddy Chambers is the real star of the show with this, a very sort of tribal drumming on it, very sort of like bruising piece. For me, it is one of my favourites like on the records. It is a bit of a slog to get through the whole thing. It's about 7 minutes, this song here, but it's really just like an absolute barrage like of sounds like on it. Like definitely shows like the band's like versatility, like they could do like a lot of like different sounds like and styles. But definitely like not what I would put on like say like an introduction to XTC playlist like by like any means. Like it's just a little bit like too far out there like for me. I'm quite glad that on the follow-up album English Settlement they focused a bit more like on melody and like pop arrangements rather than this more sort of like avant-garde like direction like on this song. Okay, so overall, this album would score 90%, which is a brilliant score for any album. Definitely for me, this is a absolute classic. It's a fully consistent record. It's great, I would say, like all the way through. Like probably, I mean, like the last few tracks, it does start to falter like a tad. But overall, the amount of 10 out of 10 perfect songs like is like really like remarkable. I think it is just strikes the right balance between sort of like pop melodies, like it's accessible enough, but there's enough of like that weird sort of like XTC factor like in it as well, like what just makes it for me like their best album. I think it was a key point like in like Andy Partridge's development like as like a songwriter, because by this point like he began really expressing like his 60s influences and writing probably more like sort of like melodic songs, like more songs sung like by like a sort of like a British perspective. He definitely moved on like from the jerkiness of like earlier efforts like such as Scissor Man and Helicopter, and like began properly exploring sort of like classic songwriting, like which like there are many examples of like on this album. And it is also like a unique case as well, like where like I would say the singles from the album aren't necessarily the standout tracks, because for me this record holds up equally well like as a collection like of individual songs, but also like as an entire listening experience. It is also something that rather breathtaking. So yeah, Black Sea by XTC, just a great album here, definitely recommended like if like you haven't like checked it out like so far. Just a like classic album here. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this review. If you've got any requests for future ones, please do leave them down below in the comments, and I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye.